All right, ladies and gents, welcome to a very interesting series. We've got to play all three in the third round in Group C, where currently JorDan sits in the middle of the pack with 3 wins after 2 rounds, and Andy sits at the top with 5 wins after 2 rounds. Andy won 3-0 versus Lan, and people were like, okay, good performance, but maybe Lan could have done this better, maybe Lan could have done that better. Lan, also a promoted player like Andy. It wasn't easy for people to really jump to too many conclusions based on that. However, then Andy went beast mode and he won 2-1 over Hera. And ever since, there's been people like, freaking Andy, freaking this, freaking that, freaking out about Andy. All right? And, JorDan in his first round got 3-0'd by Hera. So, on paper, the favorite in this series is Andy. I still can't quite believe those words are coming out of my mouth. And I think JorDan, in his second round, showed me more along the lines of what I would have expected from him quality-wise. These guys are currently fighting over the sheep and the cow, by the way. They both want that. Andy got to the area a bit earlier than JorDan did, and so it's just going to get crazy from here. But anyways, as JorDan gets the hits, Andy will probably have to give it up. I still have JorDan as my favorite in the series. I'm going to go JorDan 2-1 because I don't know if Andy's the real deal, the win the type of group player yet. I think he's got the quality. I think he's got a Civ that also has been really strong here before in the Cumans. Not the first time we've seen the Cumans in TTL Season 3 on this map. In Gold, they were like 5-0. And Andy, unfortunately, has the weaker scout right now, so he's just going to have to let JorDan send home the animals that they have freed from their little prisons. So, JorDan has the Byzantines, and Byzantines have had a great win rate here. Byzantines can kind of counter any type of civilization, which is why they feel so strong. They're also really solid with any potential water play, and there is some water. JorDan's going to dock now. Andy will probably end up doing the same. But for the Cumans, they like the second town center. And every time I've seen the second town center, it has always been on the buried deer area. But that would leave you quite exposed here. This is more of our usual generation we saw of the first 6 to 7 weeks of TTL, where the berries are further away and the water's closer. Both have their pros and cons, so if Andy does want to go for the second town center, he may have to make it more defensive. But again, even with this type of generation, players were always going forward. But it was always like scouts into the second TC. Now, JorDan obviously thinking, oh, God, what's he going to do? And I think JorDan not seeing the dock could be an issue. We'll see if he doubles back for it. I think if he knows that Andy is docked, at the very least, in Feudal Age, he could decide on killing the fish with Byzantines. Veleza won with Byzantines against Cumans. Yeah, but like in Gold, Cumans were either undefeated or 4-1 or 5-1. I forget. In Platinum, I haven't seen Cumans win yet. Veleza beat Draken when Draken had Cumans. Barles beat Ganji when Ganji had Cumans. And then there was another one. I thought there was another one where Cumans lost. But isn't that funny? Top 24, Cumans are getting stomped here. 25 to 48, it was like they were unbeatable. Could help that players got to see it happen and think about it a little bit more. Because Gold happened prior to Platinum. So anyways, JorDan's going to click up to Feudal Age here. FreakinAndy's going to do the same. Both players are going to have 3 fishing ships. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it should be an exciting series. I talked to Andy quite a bit before his win against Hera. And then I also talked to him quite a bit after his win. And he was really happy with the result. He did feel as though he maybe shouldn't have won 2-1. He felt like, because at least in game number 3... Hera was able to stop him from getting the water. I don't know how much you guys watching this remember that game 3, but he felt like that was a big misplay from him and that he maybe should have lost the game due to that. Obviously, it was a banger of a game that went on very long, and he showed a lot of heart and fight. But he's a promoted player, right? He's a promoted player who I guess expected that JorDan would be trying to dock him here. And so he's going to try and deny this. JorDan's going to quick wall this villager in. It's going to be kind of awkward for JorDan if there's 2 villagers attacking the palisade walls, but I think Andy just has to recognize this dock is going to go down. So well played there from JorDan. Again, I think that's a big advantage with the Byzantines, because Byzantines will always win the 1v1s with the fire wars, with the faster fires. But what we've seen in the past on this map from Cumans is barracks at home, stable near the front, and then the TC. So I think that's what Andy's going to try and do. But pretty minimal investment for JorDan to kill this. It's just a dock and a fire or two. And Andy may choose to try and defend. We'll see. There's the stable here in Morville. So yeah, there will be a second town center here. Just got to make sure that you don't shoot the deer and block a TC foundation. That would otherwise be really good. Actually, all the deer have to move now. Move aside, deer. That's what I mean, though. If you shot the deer first, then you couldn't build the TC there until it decayed. So JorDan's got 5 fishing ships he's going for. Wow, that's pretty big fish investment when there's going to be about 300 food remaining at least on the big fish. But there are shore fish still, and then JorDan, he likes to make fish traps. He's been playing Black Forest more and more, like many players have, and they realize the fish traps can be strong. So maybe that's the logic. JorDan hasn't seen the barracks opening. He hasn't seen the stable. He hasn't added his own barracks. Oh, God, this is so greedy from JorDan. JorDan thinks this is just 2 TCs, and that's it from Andy. Andy's fish are unfortunately right by JorDan's dock. Okay, now JorDan should know his opponent has scouts. This will surprise him. This could be JorDan's lack of prep. Because like I said, every single time we were seeing humans, this was the build. And it's worked really well. And I think this is JorDan having not seen the games from Gold. Only maybe watched the games from Platinum. Hard to say, but I'm pretty confident in that assessment. Also hilarious to me that JorDan's villager made an outpost here. And it's right next to Andy's TC. And JorDan has to know that the scouts are coming. I don't know where that villager's going to go in the long run. Spearmen and fires so far defending the fish for Andy. Well played. That's very well played from Andy. I thought he was just going to lose this fish. That's some stubborn play from him. He hasn't lost a unit yet. And he's on 2 town centers producing villagers. Here, Andy, though, could lose a scout. He forgot about this. And well played, JorDan. JorDan obviously had the time to realize there were scouts. He's adding the spears now. And this villager... Oh! She's dead. And JorDan still has this dock up here. But Andy's been able to get a little bit more value as the demo lands on the spearmen. But a little bit more value from the fishing ships. As he really needs to be thinking about farms right now. But, you know, also, what makes it so strong is you have deer and you have berries. You have all these things before you need to add farms. JorDan's going to mill over here. I like the outposting from JorDan because I love the vision. And the idea from JorDan here is really interesting. He's going to tower this. And I'd never thought this would be a real possibility. I mean, his only army is spearmen. But it's going to make it messy for Andy. And Andy can't make a counter tower because Andy doesn't have the stone. He only has 100 after building the TC. See the way Andy's villagers moving around. You could tell he's struggling with the pace of the game a bit. Could always take a little bit of stone and then make a counter tower to this. But I don't think he's seen it yet. We got JorDan ejecting his fires here. This is probably the time where JorDan will win water. But having said that, Andy's got a demo waiting, and the demo's going to land. It's decent enough to maybe stay alive for a while longer. And now all of JorDan's spearmen are going down to Andy's town center. And surely Andy sees that tower here now. Still no reaction to it, which is really weird. And making more scouts as well for Andy. This guy does not hesitate to be aggressive. If you're going to go out being aggressive. That's what I say. Go out doing something crazy. But don't go out losing 2 scouts to your fires there. There's such a late reaction here from Andy. But, again, JorDan doesn't really have a lot to back this up. So I think the tower could get taken out. But those are vills that aren't collecting food. So I think this could be considered a small victory for JorDan. It's been scrappy, man, as it often is when the humans are involved. I'd like to see Andy try and use the scouts elsewhere on the map. Andy's villagers still just trying to put this tower... take this tower out. kill that freaking villager. I don't know. I still don't know if I'm saying freaking more when I'm casting FreakinAndy or if I'm just more aware that I'm saying freaking more because I'm casting FreakinAndy. I'm going to say maybe both. Worker efficiency overall and worker efficiency last minute are at the bottom left of your screens now. So last minute, obviously, it hasn't been good for Andy. And eco count's similar. Because JorDan's had these fishing ships here. And I think JorDan likes this idea. I think he's like, I'm just going to continue to drop towers here. And just make your food eco messy. There are farms for Andy, though. And Andy... Oh, it's found JorDan over here! JorDan's got to fight it back with Vills. Now, Andy didn't really focus down individual villagers, which is going to be his downfall here. That could have been so much worse for JorDan. Still took some losses. And still Andy... staying alive in this game. Honestly, though, I think what benefits Andy here is to take a little bit of stone and then just drop a tower so you can't be disrupted here. You not working with these villagers is really painful for Andy. And JorDan's farming eco and fishing eco going to be interesting for his food eco. But again, he's only got 200 more food for those fishing ships to work on. And Andy's fish have still been alive? What? He actually took 60 food from there? Okay, but I mean, again, at what point do you just realize I am going to lose that anyways? The dude's a maniac for not fully giving up on it. I ended up buying the stone so he could make the tower. Ends up defending. JorDan will lose his tower. But still disrupting Andy's eco here in this first game of this series where, guys, JorDan's on 3 wins after 2 rounds. If JorDan loses this series, he is one of the favorites to be relegated, which is nuts. JorDan will drop another tower, but Andy has actually been taking stone, like we talked about earlier, so Andy doesn't need to buy it, and he can just counter tower, and obviously he's going to have the villagers. Eco counts higher for Andy. He's got 55 villagers to JorDan's 40. And I think Andy's still in a pretty reasonable position. JorDan has made a lot of spears. I can't wait to see that stat at the end. That's like, this is the most created unit from that player. JorDan actually could lose. He added a fishing ship here. He could lose that villager as well. Could always lose the villagers on the front if he's not careful. And this Andy guy refuses to go away. Beautiful click walls from JorDan, though. But this is the same tenacity that we had seen from Andy up against Hera, right? He's okay with it being messy. He's able to stay alive in situations where most players would not against a big name. JorDan's close to clicking up to the next age, though. Demo lands. That's a sick demo. I don't know how much that area should matter anymore. And Andy just needs to put this take this tower down and think about Castle Age. JorDan will be thinking about Castle Age as well. As his buildings clicks up, Andy clicks up too. So, you know, like, Andy's super heavy on stone. I think he's going to be thinking about a castle. And JorDan, I think his opening's going to be maybe like Pike Siege or something. So the timing has to be immediate for JorDan to deny a castle. And I'm still curious where Andy will drop his castle. Andy's done a good job not forgetting his eco at home. Almost overchopped this wood line. Now he's done this. And he's done a good job scouting. Res collected. Andy's collected 500 more, which isn't that crazy right now. And it's a scrappy game, so, you know, you got to pay attention to this when JorDan's, like, shooting your tower down right now. Yeah, JorDan definitely wants to siege push this TC. I think Andy could just drop a castle near that TC. I think he'd be okay there, as he finds a couple of villagers from JorDan over here. What a messy game. Like, anyone else really appreciating the messiness of this? I'm loving it. JorDan just wants some hunt. I could see JorDan also town centering over in this area where there's stone and gold. That said, he hasn't scouted it. JorDan has no clue Andy's going to be in a position to build a castle. He's not expecting that at all. Where do you build it? I think you could just run from this stone and go drop the castle here. And then you get the castle up, you shoot the tower down, and then you take the gold. Jordan's going to see how much stone's been taken there, and he might be really concerned. Andy's going to build a castle. Jordan deletes his tower. Where's the castle going to be? Andy, this is important here. You need this castle immediately. Jordan's going Pike Siege against you. You need the castle probably to protect the town center. Oh, interesting spot. He's going to just place it next to the siege workshop. That's so ballsy, man. But it kind of makes sense because then the siege can't really eject and do much. Well, at least Megan Els can't. Andy, please don't fight off pikes with villagers here. You're crazy. Okay, well, he's done it. The pikes will kill the villagers. But he's got the villagers to lose, I suppose. And he's got the villager lead. Jordan, I think, realizes now that I can't all in anymore. We have to play defense against whatever's coming. And in all honesty, killing these vills, while also at home, expanding to your 3rd and 4th town center, this is all really good stuff. We'll have to find an answer to the kip checks that we'll be seeing from Andy. Andy obviously has Lancers out as well. This also a really nice find from Jordan. Jordan knows Andy's exposed here. Andy should feel exposed here and drop a town center. You should always have a town center in this position, in my opinion. Andy chasing down the vills with the Lancers. Jordan spears out of position a little bit in this messy game. Here's more spears headed over. And Andy hasn't made a single kip check, which is really uncommon for a player who's made a castle with humans. Normally, you're making kip checks. Just going Lancers here, and he will drop a TC here. Lancers have head over here to see if Jordan's over there. He's pulled Jordan's pikes out of position. Does Jordan see this? Jordan does. Man, Jordan's had to work so hard for every good little thing he's accomplished in this game. And Andy will complete the town center. Andy will kill the pikes. 66 eco versus 57. Love Jordan's eco setup, though, with the town center positions. The only issue for Jordan would be he almost needs another one on a gold, or he just mines that gold. I also love how Jordan's pikemen have continued to harass Andy. Andy, it says he has 34 on food go, guys, but he's got 14 or 15 of those villagers on the berries. That will need to transition into farms at some point. Still not a single kip check when your opponent's making pikemen. I don't love that. I think that would be the natural play, and I think regardless, Andy might feel like the natural play as he kills Jordan's fish traps and fishing ships. Has a potential to anyways. The risk of doing this, Jordan. But I think a forward castle will be coming in for Andy soon. But why do we not have kip checks? You combine kip checks with the Lancers, and that could be really strong here. Eco KD's 14 to 12. Total KD 52 to 38. This has been hectic. As finally a kip check arrives to save the day there. Just a little bit of range could be so valuable. You guys see how active Andy is? How mobile he is all the time? How many different areas he's thinking about? He's definitely going to castle this TC from Jordan. It's either that or he castles over here against Jordan, as Jordan's running to the south of the map. You see Jordan's scared. He doesn't feel like he can comfortably TC this area. And still just one kip check for Andy, who's loved these step lancers with that little range they have and the speed they have with the humans. Resources collected now. I mean, he's pulled ahead massively. Guys, I made my predictions, obviously, before we saw any of the games this season. I predicted a 3-0 for Jordan. I think a lot of people predicted a 3-0 for Jordan. They predicted a 3-0 for Hera when Andy played against him, and Andy won 2-1 there. And Andy's going to drop a castle. Jordan's pikes have kind of been split up everywhere. They're in all these different positions, and Andy's like, boom, get poked. Boom, get poked. Who's points here? Me or you? I'm points here. I've got range. And he does back away now as he tries to lure Jordan into the castle. But what's he going to do? He can't break Andy because Andy has 2 castles in crucial positions. Now one of your town centers is going to get taken out. Andy can make a combination of kip checks and lancers, which could be really strong. He's got mobility against you, so good luck. And then also, look how far apart the TCs are for Jordan. It is going to be so easy for JorDan to be distracted and lose villagers in one of those corners. JorDan's got to be very alert. The good news for JorDan is that pikes can trade really well against Kipcheks and Step Lancers if they get the hits. So both the units that we're seeing from Andy are vulnerable. I still feel like Mass Kipchek it just puts an end to the play we're currently seeing from Andy, or from JorDan rather. Outpost over here for Andy as he's on the gold. Kills the pikes there. Okay, so JorDan. I feel like he needs a castle near one of the castles from Andy. And then Imperial Age. So, like, I could see a castle here or here. Because it's also near the gold. And then try to get to Trebs. But JorDan would have to defend elsewhere. And thankfully, he's got the vision and the reaction time here. His demo could be converted, and he just deletes the demo. But now he should know that Andy's not here. So he's probably going to drop that castle. Andy thinking about Imp, and it's not cheap for him. And he clicks up to Imp. Since when do you see Byzantines lose the race into the Trebs? That never happens. Andy maybe sensed it was this type of game, and Andy's clicked up. He will only have one castle. JorDan will be up right behind him, though, and it's Byzantine castles, right? Byzantines are really strong. Just now, Bodcanero coming in for the Kipcheks, and there's still not many of them. So Andy pushed off of this gold. He does still have gold behind here. He does have gold available over here if he scouts for it, but he hasn't really been that active in that area. And JorDan actually has more on stone than him. Guys, JorDan... I think JorDan actually... Oh, God, it's so tough. But I think JorDan's actually in a slightly better position right now. Because the main unit from Andy is Lancer, not Kipchek. If Andy wants to change into Kipchek, which I think he is, he needs castles. JorDan has stone. JorDan has gold. JorDan has very cheap pikes and very cheap skirms if he wants to do that. Humans can struggle against that. JorDan starts by winning this Trebor, which he's favored in due to the Byzantine bonuses. I think Andy starts to fall back a little bit. And he might start to struggle as he's now thinking about upgrades and different areas of the map for gold and stone. Really tricky stuff, though. The fact that JorDan is able to freely expand all these resources right now, have the opportunity to take this golden stone, all that's really impressive from him. And I think if there were more Kipcheks, the pike play wouldn't have been able to hold, and JorDan wouldn't have been able to expand like he has. You see some creative walling there from JorDan, but yeah, Kipcheks are now getting shredded. But there's not enough of them, right? If there's like 15 Kipcheks, JorDan would never place this, but JorDan knows he can. And Andy's got a TC in the middle. We could see Andy losing this TC and Andy losing this castle in the foreseeable future. Let's see, though. The Kipcheks are doing really well now. Plus, there's Lancers. JorDan's not an imp yet. And the first Treb's on the way for Andy. He's also going to queue Conscription behind that, which is interesting. So that tells me that he thinks he will lose the Trebor. It's either that or he thinks he will convincingly win the Trebor. But, okay, he actually canceled Conscription. I think that was a misclick. He wants Conscription in the far castle. That makes sense. We see him getting upgrades that affect the Kipcheks, like Parthian and Thumbring. And we see Lancers finding some kills at JorDan's base. But, again, a good reaction from JorDan. It's not easy to do that, especially when you start to get attacked elsewhere. You could tell he actually has looked away even now because he's looking over here. So JorDan loses a lot of his eco there, and the Step Lancers will just move around. There's more stone income for JorDan at the moment. And he probably expects JorDan to YOLO to win this Trebor. And there's 2 castles versus 1, so JorDan should win that. Lancers are running through here. JorDan unable to find the quick walls to stop them. The Kipcheks also looping around this way. JorDan's got cheap skirms. He's got cheap pikes. And he's got strong castles. That's Byzantines. Humans do have champion, but then if you make champion, then there could be cataphracts out of the castles. But wow, Andy has literally just looped through all of JorDan's eco to then join these armies together. It's really impressive stuff. But here, JorDan's definitely keeping his castle up right now. And JorDan's going to lose a lot of his skirms. He's trading against Kip checks. I'm sure Andy's distracted. The pikes show up. The TC fire too. Andy's kind of falling apart a little bit. JorDan's pop is still pretty decent. And if he takes out all of these trebs from Andy, this could be terrible for Andy. And Andy's looping around with his army to hit JorDan's gold. That's actually all of JorDan's gold income right now, besides relic income. And he'll find kills there. See stables going up in this position for Andy. He's committed to this against Byzantines. And I think he takes the castle down. He does. Crazy. He needs his own castles, though. He needs to have Kip checks in combination with Cav. It has to be Kip check Hussar or something here. But I think, he feels Lancers do a little bit more and add a little bit more value, and he's got the gold, so he's going to go Lancers, too. Honestly, I think it's smart to continue with Lancers. And also, prioritizing the attack upgrades for Lancer is probably so much better than prioritizing armor. Players are so caught in, this is how you play the game that they don't think about it that way. But because they rely on that attack more than the armor, because they're a low HP unit, high attack unit with the range, I like the decision-making here. And the trebs are still here for Andy. So he's still trying to push this. And JorDan, guys, it just doesn't seem like he can keep up right now. At least keep his castle up. And he's catching up with the armor upgrades as well, obviously. He's going to drop a castle right there! This is insane! But he feels like if I drop the castle here, it helps me hold this position. And it helps me against these units that JorDan is sending out right now. What a crazy play. JorDan still has trebs, too, if you're Andy. It's not like you forgot about that. But if he just repairs this, also combine some rams and whatever else, this could be great. This is another amazing performance from Andy here, who's top of the group right now. And if he repairs this, we'll take out JorDan's castle and maybe has a chance to take out the trebs. Kip checks, now looping back here. JorDan has to react to that again. And JorDan's castle, I mean, it's only battering rams from Andy. He's just producing so much, but it doesn't matter. JorDan realizes, I will lose my castle. I will lose this position. My opponent's all over me. And Andy continues the streak of crazy victories against big names. And promoted player FreakinAndy gets a win to start off the series. All right, so I said at the start, I don't yet know if the hype is real. Still maybe a little bit early. But the Andy hype is real as he starts off with a win against JorDan. That was so good. And it was just hectic play. It was hectic. It was mobile. It was everywhere. There were situations where I was like, is that the right unit choice? Is that the right upgrade? No, it's just I'm here, JorDan. I'm here, JorDan. I'm here, JorDan. I'm here, JorDan. And JorDan just reacted. I think the key for me was really the fast imp Trebor situation. And Andy read the game perfectly to get to imp fast enough to compete. Really hard, one castle versus two, to be able to compete there. And JorDan had an exceptional game. It's not like JorDan underplayed this. JorDan made it messy for Andy with the towers and the berry area. He took out Andy's fish. He ended up being on 3 or 4 town centers himself. Still, though, Andy with more food, more gold collected, more stone collected, gets the W. It is a play all 3. We'll go to JorDan's home map next. And, man, I've got a big old freaking smile on my face right now. And I just can't even wait to talk about the group. Regardless of what happens now, talking about this group at the conclusion of this series is going to be insane. Fun fact about Andy, by the way, he always plays in the orange. Because I said once that he probably turned some team colors, and he watched my cast, and he messaged me later and said, no, I play with orange. I don't play with team colors on. Which is... It makes me like him 1% less. Because that bothers me. I could not play orange on this terrain. I'm going to have to turn him to red now. Sorry, Andy. So, these civilizations are both insane for this map, okay? Chinese start with the additional villagers, but the weakness is keeping the vill count rolling, right? But on this map, you have a bush underneath your TC, and so it helps you with that start. And so, a really good Chinese start is 20 seconds of TC idle time or less. He's currently sitting at 16, and he will have to force drop constantly, but honestly, everything's looked smooth as can be here. Well, okay, until that moment. That's actually really bad, and that could actually add to a little bit of idle time. So Chinese have the eco. Chinese have the options. They've got knights, they've got camels, they've got pikes, they've got archers. But it's really their economy in combination with their options that makes them one of the best picks. So they're a top 3 pick for this, in my opinion. Magyars are also top 3. Magyars don't have an eco bonus. However, their scouts are cheap. They get the forging upgrade. And this is a map where you tend to see a lot of scouts. So JorDan should always have the initiative. If JorDan overextends, if JorDan undermakes army, if anything starts to go wrong for JorDan, the recovery window isn't really there. So I think that, the key obviously for Andy is going to be the defense. Can he catch up in army numbers and upgrades? And then can JorDan continue to be offensive throughout the game? Teutons are good here. Teutons can be good here. Teutons are more awkward because of the no husbandry. But some players like Teutons are a preference type of thing, right? And Viper has been known for picking Teutons a lot here, but I don't think there's really been any other pro that has really felt super comfortable with Teutons. Having said, I think we had Teutons on the draft. Can I just look real quick? We had Teutons for JorDan, and he's teammates with Viper, so maybe he was thinking about it. But he picked Magyars first. So I like how JorDan, looking for a bounce back game, goes for his number 1 pick. I think most of you guys know this already, but in case you don't, there is now stone terrain on the outside. So you cannot wall to the edge of the map anymore on this version of Lance Madness. That stone terrain obviously extends around the woodlines too. So you cannot wall directly from a woodline over to a town center, which means this will likely be very open. But they could maybe find ways to defend. It'll probably be a lot of small walling though. But yeah, I mean, if you're wondering what you make of your Andy, you still make scouts. You maybe make spears. So I'd say use, spearmen and scouts religiously, and then you kind of adapt from there. But I think if I had to guess how this plays out, I would say JorDan has the initiative on scouts. He holds that initiative for a while. It'll reach a point where Andy's trying to recover with numbers and catch up with scout spearmen. And then at that point is probably when JorDan feels like my opponent's overspending resources compared to me. I'm going to try and go Castle Age. And if JorDan holds within that period where Andy is more military, then JorDan will have the advantage in early castle. That's typically how it plays out. And then the whole thing can continue where it's like, okay, then the Chinese have to hold against the knights, then they get to the camels, and then you get the pikes from Magyars, and the Magyars have a couple DCs, but then the Chinese economy is really good, and then they have more numbers, and blah, 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 blah. And actually, that final part where the Magyars start to add eco, I think if the Magyars start to add eco, and the Chinese start to have more army, Chinese can be down 10 or 15 villagers later on. That's not an issue. I played this matchup quite a few times myself in tournaments. I personally always opt for Chinese, but I'm a greedy boy, so. JorDan clicks up. Woodlines, 2 separate woodlines here, which I really like because you're going to small wall these in to protect the vills, and they're going to be here a long time. 1 lumber camp approaches oftentimes lead to you needing to leave for another woodline or over chopping. This is much healthier for your eco. Would Magyar Cav Archers be good later on? On a map where don't have to run around constantly and deal with 1 or 2 units hitting different spots, yes. I'd be surprised if we see Cav Archers here. But there is a world, especially now, because there's a bonus where they create Cav Archers faster. There's a world where maybe it's good. And if JorDan is lacking confidence in knights against camels, I could see that happening. So they'll both reach feudal age. Andy hasn't left his base at all, which is precisely what you should do because you know it's going to be scouts. The downside of Magyars and Chinese is it's expected, right? There should be no surprises. Andy's actually hoping JorDan attacks that villager. You guys, it might not realize that, but like Andy left that villager exposed because he knew his scout was waiting. And JorDan might be tempted. But JorDan's experienced enough to know you don't attack there because his scout or spearman's probably on the way. Res collected, it's more for Andy, but remember that if Andy has horse color farms, there's way more food on those farms with the Chinese too. So, yeah, lots of reasons for the Chinese to be strong economically. And now it's on JorDan to gain the initiative, but JorDan's going to have the cheaper scouts, but he's not going to have scouts much faster than Andy. So JorDan's slower uptime is going to mean that the numbers should be fairly similar. I don't like how Andy hasn't walled in his woodlines yet. I think that's just asking for trouble. But he is sending a spearman to each woodline, so he has the right idea there. I also don't love how he doesn't know where JorDan is. But he now knows JorDan's going scouts if he didn't before. Knows JorDan is there. And he's pretty okay at the moment. But, I mean, these are Magyar scouts. Once the scouts get grouped up, they will kill the spearmen. So you need to wall in your woodlines. It's even more important with Chinese. It's like the only way you lose this matchup is if you get overrun by scouts. So do yourself a favor, and at the point where there should be 4 or 5 scouts in one group, just wall them in. JorDan's obviously played very clean himself. We've talked a lot about Andy here. And JorDan gets a nice little hit there. And JorDan's waiting. Like, he's seen the approach, so he's going to group up and go after one spearman. Maybe this is Andy's inexperience in these settings. But there's no reason for this not to be walled in for a player his caliber. That said, he does see this. And look how fast. Like, JorDan just takes out the spears. And Andy still kind of has the possibility of defending here. Gets some good pokes. But those spearmen would have been helpful later on. Instead, he's going to make more, though. But he hasn't lost Vils, right? Like, what happens to me there is I don't have the follow-up spearman in position, and then I lose Vils. That's the difference. JorDan going to gold. Now, that is 2 to gold, which could eventually mean archers and scouts against spears. But there's always a temptation to just go for stronger scouts and use the gold to spend 150 food, 100 gold on bloodlines, so your scouts then have more HP. Because you're already up an upgrade. This is wild. Okay, now Andy's going to prep some walls. But intentional town watch, so he has more vision, which is a lovely upgrade to get here. Is very defensive. It's not exciting, right? It's not exciting Land Madness play, but this is the matchup. You play safe. And res collected should be really good for you in the long run. Look at this. I think Chinese are in a must-ban category on the draft anytime Land Madness is in the game. But I think what made the draft tricky is that FreakinAndy's home map is a wall, I think, which is a closed map. And JorDan kills another spearman there. Andy's going to add an archer range behind this. Sensing that archers could come from JorDan or just feeling it, it's natural to do that. Lots of spearmen on the field. He just clicks most of them on his screen together. Do you see that? Because he saw JorDan's scout numbers. 48 pop for both. Guys, I'm going to have to repeat it. If JorDan doesn't win this series, he's one of the favorites to be relegated out of this group. Mathematically. Which is not great for a player of JorDan's caliber who I think showed me the best level I'd seen from him in 5+ years when he played the playoffs against Viper in Season 2. The classic, he said, freaking Viper man at the end of that crazy best of 5, which went on for 3 hours, because he, too, recognized that he was playing his best Age of Empires and fortunately lost that series. But, like, Viper won the whole season, right? Like, he almost beat Viper, could have maybe beat Viper if it wasn't, like, peak Viper, and now here's JorDan 6 months later, and this is the conversation against a promoted player from Gold. Just wild. More and more army coming from both players. JorDan probably wasn't expecting the range from his opponent. Both players are going to have a whole mess of spearmen. The range number is higher for JorDan, and it has more of an effect on the spears. So the skirm really feels unnatural right now, because it does less damage versus spears, and it also does less damage versus the scouts. I think Andy's about to try and play defense and counterattack for the first time. This is a risk. Is it a calculated risk? It feels like this could be horrible. He's going to come home. He'll use his own range units here against JorDan, but JorDan has fletching. Andy does not. Andy should place a new palisade. So good, he does. His scouts actually find some units here that he could kill from JorDan's. Then here, JorDan has to micro. Andy has to micro. Wood villagers are being chipped away at, but no crucial damage. There, these are scouts with bloodlines and armor now. Andy can continue to take that fight, and then we have a big fight here. So I'm not sure where players are looking right now, but it's kind of a hard one to break down. I think JorDan doesn't have the ranged army to necessarily kill all the spears. And the scouts for Andy are still here, but JorDan's added spearmen. It seems like they're going forward. There's 6 spearmen for Andy. These are fully upgraded, at least in HP, and attack scouts from Magyars. And, oh, man, the fight snowballs directly towards JorDan. It was kind of close. And I'm sure Andy expected he would accomplish more with his spearmen there. But it's just all the HP on the scouts, guys. And we'll see if Andy actually loses any villagers to it. He hasn't lost any villagers yet. JorDan's bringing villagers forward, so he misclicks. It's funny, Andy also has villagers that are kind of out of position at the moment, though. The advantage, JorDan, but Andy's bringing home all of his scouts. He's adding another stable. He hasn't lost any villagers. And I think he could actually clear this if he gets his army together. JorDan's going to see vills and take them. But Andy will eventually clear this army. And he still only lost 1 villager. It's pretty insane. Archers will go down for JorDan. Andy has to send villagers back to work. Res collected right now. A smaller advantage for Andy, but it's still there. And both players on double stable, right? Yeah, it'll be double stable for JorDan as we're seeing more and more scouts. I don't like how we don't have armor yet from Andy. Or, sorry, forging. He has armor, he has bloodlines, but it feels like if your opponent is maxed out with upgrades on scouts, you need to be at maxed out as well. So impressive from both players not to lose a lot, and this is Land's Madness. This is what people want when they see Land's Madness. Andy takes a fight without forging. But I think he knew that some of those units were weak there from JorDan, which is why he did it. He did kill more units than JorDan did. And he's got similar amounts of army. Like, guys, normally a promoted player is broken by now, right? Normally it's like, okay, this is inevitable. JorDan took a good fight. This game's over. We know what's happening. That's not what's happening. Not with FreakinAndy in this group. But JorDan does take another really good fight. And that's just because of the scout numbers. And you can tell Andy was trying to save for Castle Age here. He dropped a market. He was really thinking, okay, Castle Age camels, Castle Age knights. But JorDan continues with archers. JorDan continues with scouts. Now we could see the real damage get done. I think he might even need to leave the wood line and build the tower on the gold. Like, this gets really rough right now. Oh my god. House wall. And JorDan not going in there. Showing Andy a lot of respect. The other thing about JorDan is he is a player who loves to have army control the whole way through the game. He very rarely dives to get lots of villager kills. He prefers to just have army control because he feels like eventually there will be a better moment coming. He's very patient with it. I'm not sure I like the patience after that good of a fight, though. Here he goes. He sees the archers from Andy. Andy will have a wood line exposed. Okay, now you have to kill the vills, right? Right? Nope. See what I mean? He's like, I will take your army, and then I will find the villagers later. That's the thought process. That's the logic. And we'll see if that ends up happening here. He is underneath the TC. The TC didn't kill that many units, and JorDan's going to find his way to the wood line anyways. Andy's going to lose a lot here. JorDan's scouts, though, are slowly going down. He still hasn't killed many villagers here, JorDan. And at what point against the Chinese is he going to commit towards these villagers? I'm waiting for it. He's killed 2 vills now, and he's still alive. And he could maybe click up to Castle Age soon. It's not within the realm, outside the realm of possibilities here. With the resources we're seeing. And Andy trying his best in this game against JorDan's pressure with the Magyars. It still feels more comfortable for JorDan for me, right? Like, he seems in his comfort zone. You can tell it's his home map. He's been the aggressor. But if Andy can hold, click up to castle, and then get onto knights faster than JorDan, he can absolutely do this. This is a ridiculous game. Archer count higher for Andy now. He's working off of 2 ranges. JorDan working off of just 1. And, you know, if the archer ball gets too dangerous, then JorDan might want to get into knights as well in the castle age. And I see him saving res now. JorDan has stopped producing everything. We have a very even fight here. At the conclusion of the fight, it's still going to be JorDan on top, though. This is so well played from JorDan. Yep, and this is, remember, this is what we talked about. There will be a point where JorDan says, all right, I've done enough to force him into a bit of an all-in feudal. Then I go castle age, and now JorDan... We might still see him go crossbow, but I think it's just going to be more scouts, so we can upgrade to light cav, and then so we can go into knights. There goes Andy. Crazy game. Just reached that point. Look how open JorDan has played. Really like the change we did with the map, so you can't wall to the edge. This is what Lance Madness is supposed to be. So this window here might decide the game, guys. The 50 or so second window where JorDan hits castle age. He gets the attack upgrades instantly and for free. But then on top of that, he has that time window to start making some knights. And he just has 1 more archer than JorDan, who's going to fight this. I think just to keep Andy away from his base right now. It's going to be a fine fight for JorDan in the end, if he can keep the archers away. Because he just needs to wait till he gets the attack upgrades, and then Andy can't threaten. These guys have made things that aren't usually so calculated look very calculated in this game. Very impressive. Like, JorDan's micro with these archers has been insane. Because he's been working off of 1 archer range. I wish I had a stat on how many archers JorDan has lost in this game. Obviously, he's taken some losses, but he hasn't lost that many. And he will end up just giving up on archers eventually, I'm thinking. There's the castle age for JorDan. Now he gets the extra attack, but JorDan doesn't have his extra attack being used because a lot of his scouts died. And Andy's still kind of in the game. He's hanging in here. Somehow. JorDan getting crossbowman. That's a surprise, but he's probably just in the frame of mind of produce. And if you're a JorDan fan, don't get too upset by him losing archers because he's about to have knights right next to Andy's archers. So, yeah. These archers have to now back away, and there's camels that will be coming from Andy. But it's the crossbow knight, crossbow camel combination that is really the terrifying thing for the Magyars against the Chinese. Okay, guys, this is what we talked about in Dark Age. I hope you guys listen to me in Dark Age, okay? Look, Magyar player hits a power spike in castle, but they don't really have the army control, so they drop TCs. This is where now Chinese have really solid 1 TC eco, and they have a really difficult army to stop. And this is where Chinese should win Lance Madness games. Because there's no way that you can easily protect all your resources in Lance Madness against crossbow and camel. Now, what JorDan could try and do is he could try and counterattack with the knights, but engaging against the combination of camel, knight, crossbow is really difficult. And yeah, you will see JorDan's TCs idle now because he's going to be trying to produce a lot of knights and a lot of villagers out of 3 TCs. But yeah, JorDan needs to keep all the action away from his base. It feels like Andy is just ramping up now and building up towards the numbers to eventually deal with everything JorDan sends forward. I actually like this from JorDan because staying at home is not an option. And we have a pause right now, but Andy's got the lead. FreakinAndy has got the lead. This guy's the real deal. What in the world? Now, there were moments, right? It's understandable. It's very common, but I do feel like if JorDan loses, there were slight glimpses, moments, and opportunities to maybe pull off and kill more villagers than he did. But I've at least explained the reasoning behind it.
Yes.
Andy paused. He said, sorry, my foot fell asleep. Well, that's funny. All right, so he just had to move his ankle a little bit. Guys, it's important we pause to move our ankles so our feet don't fall asleep, all right? Take care of yourselves out there. Jordan's counterattacks are going to do a lot of work here. And that attack helped him kill the camels, but at the same time, he's getting completely shredded on the front. And he's lost way more than Andy has. And Andy's going to have camels. Sorry about the pause. And the monks. And I think Jordan's units will die, leaving Jordan with still no answer to the crossbow combination here. And Jordan just doesn't have access to gold right now. Someone asked how long Andy's been playing. Andy's been playing a very long time. He has a deathmatch background. So he's been around for like 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know the exact time. But he played deathmatch until about 2020. And that's where he started to play standard RM. And he's been getting better ever since. Yeah, this is the matchup. This is how the matchup tends to play out. And this is where you're not playing off of any bonuses if you're Magyars. But guys, that's like on paper. That's how the the game plays out. Like this is insane execution. Jordan was everywhere in Feudal Age. He did a great job counterattacking there. But there's some level of desperation for him now against Andy. But Andy sees all these stables with flags, and he doesn't know how many knights are in there. So I'm sure he's a little concerned, as he's actually going for a ram right now. A ram, and who knows where these villagers are going. 2 TCs for Andy. Good eco upgrades. Has a knight in the back of Jordan's base. Now here, Jordan popped out with knights. Jordan will clear up his gold for a bit. But Jordan lost his whole wood line! So the knight killed villagers over here. Jordan still hasn't noticed. And then the whole wood line got massacred. Still 61 vills for both, but it's the crossbow camel, man. There's so much. There's so much army. As of now, Jordan has 3 wins after 2 rounds and then the 1 game that we played. If Jordan were to lose this game and win the final game, it would still be really rough for him. Mangonel, though, is the MVP of the game for him. He's landed some big shots there. Jordan's struggling for all control. He's just getting massacred because he can't stop the crossbowman numbers from Andy. And Andy's taking out Jordan's houses. He's taking out the wood lines. He's taking engagements against villagers over here. I mean, this is GG. This is game over. And Jordan will try. This is what you have to do because the defense is just not working. A couple units over in Andy's base. It could give you opportunities. That's the right play, as you just expand, because you haven't been fully broken yet. It looks bad, but it's not over yet. If Andy doesn't realize, he'll lose his whole wood line. And Andy hasn't realized. And Jordan's knights stopped attacking, because I think they're on stand ground from before, and he's looking at this. And so is Andy. So if Jordan didn't have his units on stand ground, they'd be getting tons of kills. And Jordan's still alive because of the 3-knight counterattack and the Mangonel defense. Because what crossbows and camels can't do is they can't go underneath TCs. Andy, I think, has noticed this now because we have a unit headed over. And yeah, there's a monk from somewhere going to convert that. And more villagers exposed, though. Jordan really struggling for balance as we see him go elite skirmisher now. And Andy just 2 TCs. Honestly, like, it's hard for me. Normally, I would say settle down and just boom and you win. But Andy doesn't settle. So who am I to tell the guy to settle down and boom when he can use his speed from his deathmatch days for this type of stuff? Like, there's never a moment where he's not applying some level of pressure to Jordan. It feels like he is able to pay attention to different areas more than most of his opponents have thus far in TTL. Like, yeah, Jordan goes skirm, but the skirms lack tons of upgrades. He barely has the resources. This is just rough. Worker efficiency overall over the last minute is 28% for Jordan. Every single TC has been affected, it feels like. Will, though, add a knight for the Mangonel, and he will use that knight then against the Ram, so that's nice. So that's a positive for Jordan. And Jordan's just thinking, like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. I'm actually playing really good. Because Jordan is playing really good. And he's hoping that his opponent's on 1 TC. And that his opponent is not on 4 town centers like he is, and that at some point JorDan's eco will stabilize, and then he can start to make tons of army again. But he calls the GG. FreakinAndy up 2-0 here, guys. He's up 2-0 over JorDan. And FreakinAndy has his home map remaining. This guy's an animal right now. And if you're Andy, if you can win this group, you go directly to the quarters post-group stage, and then you don't have to deal with going to a, best of 5, round of 12 type situation. Andy can play every single type of map. If it's closed, if it's open, if it's water, he's played so well so far in TTL. He is the big standout performer in TTL Platinum thus far. And we'll see if it continues here. My goodness. I mean, I'm going to go back to the moments that I think JorDan could have maybe forced the issue a little bit more. Okay, so here, there was an opportunity here, right? You've got good army numbers to continue to move around and get kills. Makes sense. JorDan kind of happy to back away, right? Actually, he did make a move here, and then Andy was here with more. So tricky. But then there was another one, like, right about here. Okay, so here we're on screen, 12 scouts, 6 archers, against 7 scouts, 8 archers. It's actually so close, though. It's still so close. Like, Andy's just got enough. But I would have liked to have seen JorDan maybe kill, like, 4 or 5 villages there, right? Take the risk there, because when you're against Chinese, clearly their res collect is going to be ridiculous. But guys, you can't, I can't be overly critical, because JorDan has been able to hold such control going to Castle Age and dropping town centers so many times, and it's so hard to punish that style. But it clearly here, man, like, Andy with so much eco, got so many kills this game, especially in Castle Age. This is always the military population, by the way, right? You go Castle Age, and then the Chinese army spikes, and you try and play the eco game with Magyars. It's so brutal. Andy did everything right in Dark Age Feudal there to make sure he had a shot, and then in Castle Age, he played even better. 2-0 for the underdog. All right, guys, so catching up the live time, game number 3. Forget about Andy for a second. Andy's fine, right? Andy's going to be first in the group after this regardless. Guys, JorDan has 3 wins. If JorDan has 3 wins after 3 rounds, this is going to be crazy stuff. So, because if you're in 5th or 6th place, you're relegated. And it's not, maybe it shouldn't be that big of a surprise, because every season we've had big names get relegated. Every season we've had these players who have come up from gold use this opportunity, take it, prepare, and come out firing. But JorDan would be a surprise. JorDan would not have been my list of big names that I would have put as the potential to be relegated. JorDan's gone for the Aztecs here. We've got the Portuguese for Andy. This is Andy's home map. But the importance is it's a play all 3, so every win counts. And, I mean, obviously, Andy would love a 3-0 here, because then he's just stacking up more wins from everyone who's going to be breathing down his neck. Barles and Hera are going to be the players behind him at the conclusion of this in terms of the standings. Very good for Andy. Obviously, he already beat Hera. He got Hera out of the way. But I would expect, I think Hera's last 2 rounds are against Ganji and then against Lan, who are currently at the bottom. They still have 3 rounds to play, but you would expect Hera to win those sets, get lots of wins there, right? So, Aztecs, Portuguese. Okay, well, Andy, he's gone for a Civ we've seen more commonly throughout all the gold and platinum games thus far. I usually you see the organ guns in the monk play. And I'm trying to think if that works. I actually think that works really well. Okay, so Portuguese do this well, and Bohemians do this well on this map. And I'm going to assume that JorDan banned Bohemians. Can I just look? Let me look. Bohemians is on the ban, right? Okay, JorDan bans Bohemians. Okay, this all makes sense. I know exactly, I think, how this is going to play out. So the unique unit for the Portuguese is a siege weapon, okay? And in order to kill the siege weapons, convert the siege weapons with your monks, which Aztecs are really good at, you need to research redemption, which they do have available, and you're not going to see Aztec shy away from getting such an upgrade, but that's still 500 gold, right? So, I mean, that's expensive, right? And 500 gold utilized just to convert one unit, that can set you back in the monk race. So here's what I think. Aztec monk bonus is more HP. That's not what Andy's scared of here. I think Andy will go for the castle. He then makes a wagon. It then forces JorDan to respect the... not the wagon, sorry. That would be Bohemians. The organ gun. So JorDan almost has to get redemption, because if we don't see redemption research, then Andy just pushes and kills with organ guns. Now, there is a world where maybe JorDan could add siege or something. There's that whole conversation. But the Portuguese Bohemians build on this map is all about taking initiative, forcing the opponent into expensive redemption research. And with Portuguese especially, because all your gold units are cheap, so your monks are cheaper, you just make more monks, you convert JorDan's monks, and you say thanks to the 1 or 2 organ guns you made that scared JorDan into monks in the first place. You can't go Eagles as Aztecs easily because you're against the organ guns, which is gunpowder. Is this making sense? I hope it clicks. I think that is what we'll see. I could be wrong, but I really have yet to see someone truly counter the Bohemians or Portuguese. Besides, where I felt like there were some potential misplays. Now, I've said all this, and Andy's not going to go to stone, so I'm an idiot. But I guess the important bonus to factor in here is just that the Aztec HP on their monks only plays a role if we see units attacking monks. If the whole idea is converting other monks, you would then prefer to have cheap monks. So does Andy make a pivot after forcing redemption? No, what I've seen is players you just make more monks than the opponent, you rush imp, and then you just convert monks. But we're not going to see that. I think it's going to be more of an eco approach from Andy and potentially an eco approach here from JorDan. They both gone up really fast here. I'm going to take a break, sip my drink here. But yeah, crazy series, guys. We will have one more today, Tato Classic Pro. And seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for the interest in this. It's everything's kind of come together thus far for Platinum. Oh, now villagers are headed to stone. Interesting. Well, that's very late for the castle timing he would initially want. But yeah, people showing up, people having interest, people being excited. It's cool. My main YouTube channel has had a 20 or 30% dip in performance ever since Titans League's really kicked off. But it's because my extras channel has gone up like 100% or something. So it softens the blow a little bit. Like it's been clear that people have a lot of excitement for this format, and players are preparing, right? Like now, don't get me started on Licks, which still I genuinely couldn't sleep the other night because I was just thinking about the wasted opportunity for Licks and how he played his first 2 rounds. Poor Licks getting a random diss out of me here. But yeah, there are some exceptions obviously where players clearly didn't put in a lot of practice games and try and show up swinging. But Andy is kind of the type of player that this type of format was designed around. A lot of players, they lose in the second round against like Viper, and then it's okay, tournament's done for you. Sucks that the seeding puts you up against Viper in the second round there, buddy. And all your preparation can't be shown, and it's a best of 5, so every game doesn't matter. Like, players have really made me happy with this format, so. And, maybe a little bit sad as well, in JorDan's case. At least the first series, it was up against Hera for him, but first series, didn't think JorDan was too prepared. Second series, he got a 3-0. And today, he's played very good. It's just Andy's played phenomenally well. Look at this from JorDan. He actually sees that the scout is attacking that piece of wall, and he is going to place another wall behind it. What's up, dude? How you doing? And now Andy's just going to attack another piece of wall. Okay, so the build was a bit different for Andy. I'm still thinking fast imp, though. But normally, the build that I'm used to seeing is the castles on the front. But he went to stone a bit late. Oh, well, never mind. He's going to bring the vills anyways. Yeah, he bought stone. He's fine. JorDan will drop a defensive monastery and a TC. So JorDan will just snag these relics. And if he snags such relics, then he will have them in a safe position because it's not in the front. So this makes sense. And JorDan's going to see this castle. Andy knew there was an outpost there. I think he wants JorDan to see that. I don't think he's concerned at all. And look what JorDan does. He sends more to gold because it's like, oh crap, organ guns. I'm going to need redemption eventually. I'm going to need more monks. Just watch what happens. Watch. This is live, okay? This isn't a recorded game. I have so much belief in this play. And I've been saying it so much, and sometimes people aren't doing it. I think Andy's going to have this down pat. Now, where it gets tricky for Andy is this is really YOLO, actually. Like, typically you have more food to go imp, and you transfer off of stone, so you can do that. But I actually don't know. You might want another castle in the future. Obviously, this monk for now, going to hop out to collect the relics. And he's going to wall here. Like, wow, he must have watched JorDan's previous round where JorDan siege towered. Or no, did JorDan siege tower? No. He just petarded through and raided with light calf. So Andy's selling stone. He's transferring some off of stone. He's not farming at all. This is unique. The longer this goes on, the more I prefer JorDan's economic position. And JorDan also choosing to go to a back monastery is really smart. So I wonder, like, I've been thinking like 6 steps ahead with it, with my explanation. But it's really hard for players to do that. And also, I'm assuming an awful lot, clearly. So I wonder, you know, the more Andy commits to the organs, the more redemption, not redemption. It would be, if you research redemption at the wrong time, we call it redemption. But it's going to be fine here, so we call it redemption. Yeah, redemption would actually make sense. But just so I can make sure that you guys fully understand my point. Okay, atonement's on the way. Yep. Okay, so big important upgrade comes in to convert the organ guns. And then you just bring your monks forward and you just convert the other guy's monks. That's the idea. Obviously, though, if you loot... Dude, what if he loses his organ guns to JorDan's monks and then doesn't have redemption to convert his own organs back? That could be disastrous. Oh, dude. I don't know if I've ever seen that. Yeah, what I thought we would see was double monastery and, like, 2 organs. I didn't think we'd see this many organs. Oh, God. The organs are slow. And now JorDan... He was actually getting fervor for faster monks. He does know his opponent's got atonement now. That should tell him everything. So it's actually good for JorDan that he could back away and try and get that upgrade. But think of the numbers right now because of all of his gold being spent on techs. He has to go for another monastery. JorDan's 3 TCs, though. JorDan's 3 TCs. It could be okay. The monastery is way at home for Andy. I wonder if it'll research redemption. I think you can't just factor in that you're going to lose your own organs, surely, and research redemption, right? This has always been a heavy monk play map. I still think JorDan's okay. Like, this hasn't snowballed against him yet. 3 TCs, guys. He's under a lot of pressure, obviously, but Res collected should be amazing for him. It's close, but it's the food, right? The food's really the difference maker. And he's going to buy food. And JorDan got atonement, right? I don't think he did, actually. JorDan has to be careful with that monk. That monk could be converted. Monk doesn't get converted. Yeah, this is a full monk war. And now atonement's coming in. JorDan has redemption. Andy has atonement. This could go either way. But you prioritize the monks. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe if you know your opponent doesn't have redemption, you prioritize the organs, but there's no way you know that. Also, between JorDan and Andy, Andy definitely has the better monk micro. JorDan hopped out of the TC, though. Conversions will start. Organ guns could get kills. JorDan not confident with this at all. Backs away. Still has 3 monasteries. This is the thing. Andy can do this on the back of a Land's Madness win and a Spiral win where he played amazingly well. But his monks are going down. This could all fall apart. This is where JorDan's going to be able to bring it back. You make one mistake with monks, guys, and it all falls apart. The organs are switching sides now. The monks are dead for Andy. It's not finished for him. He's not dead yet, but JorDan with great defense. He just had the time. He was able to have the time to get his technologies. Now, Andy, he's not done. He's going to click up to the Imperial Age on that one town center. It'll take him 3 minutes to get there. And when he's in Imp, he will then prioritize block printing, I'm sure, for more range on his monks. JorDan's just got to, decide on what he wants to do at the moment. And he's showing his hand by going for a barracks. I wonder if we'll see a lot of houses coming up here for Andy, because I think on these low eco plays, the amazing thing about the Portuguese backup plan is they can make Feitoria. So Feitoria take up 20 pop space, but they bring you a trickle of all resources. I think at least one Feitoria would make a lot of sense. JorDan, guys, right now, if JorDan was good with monks, he converts all this. This should never be a threat. If this is like a really good monk player, and oh, he is a really good monk player. Do you see all the blue dots? What's his, well, you don't have redemption if you're Andy, so that's horrible, because you can't convert the organs back, and no, my religion's better. No, my religion's better. Worship my God. Worship my God. Yeah, JorDan's fine. He's fine. Andy wanted a forward castle here. He's got to think about it being forward now. How unlucky is JorDan? I don't think he was that unlucky. It looked bad originally, but in the end, there was some RNG. I think it was okay. So my thinking, to explain the strat again, because I feel really strongly about this strategy clearly, so even if you don't care, just act like you do, is you just make a couple organs and you go triple monastery instead of one. Then you win the race. Oh God. Oh God. JorDan advancing forward with his monks with the cool hats. And this castle could be denied if JorDan converts the organs. So Andy's got to back away here. Kind of love how Andy's trying to convert his monk style back. But that does not happen. And that castle very well may be denied here. The castle's on the way up still. No loom? He had no loom this whole time? Okay, loom's coming in. JorDan, you need to back away. So if you're not going to stop this castle, back away so you don't lose your monks to the castle. That is just crucial. JorDan, be careful, my friend. Okay. He's going to somehow get away. Also, these 2 organ guns, it doesn't say what they killed, but I think they killed 4 or 5 monks throughout that. Oh, God! They get another one! That's huge! Is there a Feitoria in the back? There is, but that takes time to build. There's only 1 monk for Andy. He's gonna have the upgrades, which JorDan is still like a minute away from. But JorDan's been able to win the monk war. He has a castle at home. He also has the eco to add other things, and he's thinking skirmisher. And I actually really like that, because you're spending most of your gold on monks. And you might want something with as much range as possible in combination with the monks. And skirmishers with Aztecs behind Adlatl are really good with range. I think Andy's dead here. He went very heavy on the organs, not so heavy on the monks. There was a window where it could have worked, but JorDan's eco has been really strong. Now JorDan will start to lose the monasteries. And I think it's actually very early to say Andy's dead, because he's still got Feitoria. But it's Feitoria, not Feitorias. It's not plural. Think if you've got 3, you're taking the forward stone. You know, Jordan's got to take some time to build up against you. You get time to build up towards some things. And who knows? But yeah, there, Jordan, you might want to delete that one. Yeah, that guy would rather die than switch to the other person's religion. And he now finds out if he was worshiping the correct god as he flies up to the heavens. Did that get too real? I think it got too real. That sounded funnier in my brain. Maybe that got a little too... Maybe we don't need religious conversation, do we? Monasteries are on the front for Jordan. More range is coming up. No Adladdle yet. I don't think so. I need to see the skirms. No Adladdle yet. Market will go down, which feels kind of unimportant, but Jordan's going to build another one immediately. He's going to run out of space here. And Heresy from Jordan. That's the eco paying off. So any unit that does get converted by Andy will just die for Jordan. But Jordan doesn't have many monks compared to Andy now. Heresy's not in yet. I mean, skirms can't push castles. Trebs can. Obviously, Jordan's saving the Trebs. Look at this funny little group from Jordan. Like this does not look like pro play if you just take a screenshot of it. Different types of monks. It looks like something you create in a scenario. It's like they're role-playing and having a conversation. Who's in charge? I feel like this guy looks way wiser. Jordan's on 3 Trebs. Andy adding more Fatorias. That'll be Fatoria number 3. On the back of having 55 ills. So his eco is going to be really good now. Does bother me that Jordan doesn't have... he doesn't have Adladdle yet. Not even chemistry yet. But timing is of the essence here for Jordan. As we see the Trebs from Andy go after Jordan's Trebs. There's no villagers here right now. Look at the monks, though. Like, the monks are dying for Jordan. They're not switching sides. I just wonder, is Jordan maybe lacking the answer to the organs? Because the organs are shredding these skirmishers, and Andy's score is shot up. Andy's still holding this position, and Jordan's got nothing. He's got nothing. The organs are so good against skirmishers, especially with lack of chemistry. Especially with lack of Adladdle. There's a lot less attack, a lot less damage output. I don't think they ever do bonus damage versus organ guns anyways, because organ guns is siege. And guys, Jordan is running out of gold. He will have those 3 relics, and yes, he's Aztecs. So more gold's coming in from them. But he does not have Fatorias. He does not have a solid army. And he doesn't have a win in this series. This could be so bad for Jordan in the results. Guys, here's the trait that Andy has that is really the most impressive beyond everything. He just keeps coming at you. He is relentless, right? And if he takes control over a game, it feels like he's never going to give it up. Like, in the games against Hera, he was behind in 2 of them. 1-2. Here, like, I think in both games, he was behind in some situations. Just never gives up. Always has the next move. Always has the next plan. Let's see if Jordan can defend this now. Still no Adladdle, but Jordan's got 3 Trebs in defense. I think Jordan could possibly defend. It really comes down to how good the organs trade against that many skirms. I think Andy's concerned. His monks are getting sniped. His Trebs have gone down. Andy's backing up. And Andy might need to go Cavalier here, guys. Feels like stable units could be in order, and Jordan's not dead yet. Heresy was a good choice for Jordan. It feels weird when you're fighting with just skirms to have invested 1,000 gold into that. But what happens is, like, things like this, Andy's going to misclick because he's switching up what he wants to do next. We still actually just see more and more organs from Andy, so he still thinks these are really strong. And he's just now getting chemistry as well. I swear, if Jordan had Adladdle, though, he'd have +1 range and +1 attack. It's not that expensive. He could research it. And Jordan's back. Jordan's back. The consistency of skirmisher production of all things. And keeping his Trebs alive. Andy's castle goes down. Andy only has 7 monks. Andy's thinking about the cap switch. But that's going to take quite a few upgrades. Quite a bit of time. He's losing control. And, I mean, this game just turns right on its head again. This game is going to have massive ramifications for both, it feels like. Like, we might, at the end of the group stage, look back at this when Andy needed one more win to win the group or something. Or, like, JorDan, he stays up, or he gets into the playoffs by one win. Like, this game is massive. And JorDan, you've got to keep moving with those trebs directly onto the next castle. There's the stables now from Andy. Guys, Andy's got 4 Fatorias now. And he has 60 vills. So, math. He has 40 pop space for army? Is that right? 40 pop space for army? There's the ladle for JorDan. There we go. It's such a good tech. Feels like the forgotten tech, but is good. Now, this is too late. I think the skirms are so strong, and there's so many of them, that this Cavalier switch is going to lack a bit. We've got upgrades in queue out of 2 of the stables that are up. I mean, he's not exactly floating res to be able to get the final armor upgrade here. He will actually get pop caps, which he's foreseeing as he's placing houses. Trying to farm a little bit more, yes. Going to take JorDan a little bit of time to push through here, yes. Cavalier upgrade won't be in. These will just be knights. These skirms are doing 8 damage. The Pierce armor's not going to be there on the Cav yet. And the HP. And JorDan knows it should be Cav, because what's he vulnerable against? He's vulnerable against Cav. So he's prepped the barracks, and he's adding the spears. Wow, what a back and forth game here. Zawala's produced some really fun ones. And, you know, tiny moments the whole way through are going to end up deciding it. I think for Andy, it was the timing, or the lack of a timing with his monks. JorDan, it was his eco. His eco's been ridiculous. Garland Wars! Oh, God, 12-year-old me would be so proud that I'm here casting a game where Garland Wars is researched. I used to think that was the best tech in the game. Because how could you argue with +4 attack? Is a really good tech, obviously, to have as the pikes come in. And, yeah, these Cavalier, they're not going to be enough if the pikes are out there with that level of attack. And sorry, I said Cavalier. I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say Knights. Cavalier research may be in queue somewhere, but tough for Andy to make decisions right now when he's under this much pressure. JorDan's got 50 on food. He still has gold. He can steal these relics. And he'll get more than enough gold from those relics. He's got gold to mine here and here. JorDan's fine. Fatorios are strong. But I think only on the back of, like, a really good push, which Andy really never really able to get to. JorDan even getting crop rotation. Woof! It's going to be a long game, folks. Going to be a long game if those farms start reseeding and it actually pays off. But yeah, get every tech you can to get a lead. 80 army for JorDan. JorDan snags the win, which is so important. An amazing series, guys, but really respectable from Andy, obviously, who hasn't lost a set yet. He won 3-0 versus Land. He won 2-1 versus Hera, and now he's won 2-1 versus JorDan. I think what went wrong in this game for Andy was making too many organs. I think forcing your opponent into early redemption is great, but, you know, you spend a lot of wood on those organ guns. I think I would have preferred to see some of that wood saved, seeing a second and maybe even a third monastery, and then, you know, just play monks. Also, there were some aspects of the build which struggled a little bit in terms of the food eco and the farming. Imp could have maybe come in a little bit faster. But we're talking like straight up optimal play, and it's really hard to have optimal eco when you're looking at the front the whole time. JorDan knew, he's like, he might make a castle here, so let's delay it. He saw the outpost, or he built the outpost so he would see the castle. He was really fast to his eco this game, JorDan, and that's essentially what won him the game. And Skirmisher, I felt, was the correct choice. Also, nice recovery from JorDan, because I thought he was going to win. Then Andy, like, defended, and then JorDan at least didn't panic in that moment and realized he had one more wave that he could send forward there. So, great series. Let's look at the results and what that means for us here. Okay, so Liquipedia is going to update, maybe? Liquipedia hasn't updated. Let's go to the only website that matters, the Statafrax website. Give me a second. I've got to refresh it here. We'll toss all the info up. Okay, it's now not refreshing, which is just fantastic. Guys, this group is fun. Group C has been, I mean, we've actually had more games played in Group C, which might be why, because it's easy to see things come together. But trying to do a refresh here to show you guys. Is this going to update for me? No, is it just dead? I think it's dead. For those watching live, we have another series. All right, so let's just go off this. So Hera, after today's results, on 6 wins. Andy, after that result, goes up to 7. They already played each other, right? So there's no, like, final series that'll happen between them where they're, you know, able to decide it between themselves. But Andy being top of the group is wild. Then it will be, so it'll be FreakinAndy 7, okay? It'll be Hera 6. It'll be Barrels 5, JorDan 4, and then Ganji 2, and then Land 0. But we haven't seen Ganji and Land play their third round against each other yet. Where my current expectations are is that, I mean, obviously they're both going to need wins. But I think Land has what it takes to get 1 win off of Ganji. I'd be shocked if he gets 2. So Ganji could be right up there with JorDan in terms of the survival fight. So things are far from certain on where things happen in this group. We could still see players go everywhere. This is what I wanted to show you. Sorry, it wasn't loading. Okay, so I just add the results. Obvious spoilers for the earlier series, Hera Barrels, guys, but I have to do it. And then the order doesn't actually matter here, but I'll just do it. Anyways. Come on, help me out here, site. Guys, stop looking at your fantasy predictions. You're slowing down the website. Well, okay, this is gonna load eventually. Please enjoy your music while your party is reached. If only I had a song ready. I thought we would actually get it. Okay, wait. We're getting there. We're closer. We're very close. Just to finish, though, Andy played amazing. Andy is now my favorite in the last sets he plays. He won every set so far. Okay, is this update? No, wait. It's like it's adding it 1 game at a time right now. But yeah, is Wikipedia updated? Could something update, please, for the love of God? Nope. Wait. We're making progress. I think the only one that's missing is the last game for Andy and for JorDan. Because they need to have 9 played, right? Wait. Just wait. Hey, yeah, let's go. Okay, so 70% odds for Andy to get first. I still think that's a little high because Hera's only 1 win behind him. But Andy has an extra set win. And Andy has won their head-to-head. So in the event that Hera ties Andy, Andy would at least currently win the tiebreak. Which is essentially means Hera needs to get 1 win over Andy, which would be 2 more wins. So that makes it tricky. But yeah, 70% odds for Andy to be first. 50% odds for Hera to be second, which means playoffs for him, which has never happened to him before in TTL. Barrels seems like could go anywhere. Still, not too far behind, but a range of 3rd to 5th for him. And then pretty much the same for JorDan and Ganji. Just like a slightly wider net over where they could end up. Survival for Lan, still possible. And his chances in total, quick math, is like 14% to survive, which would be 4th place and up. So that's actually good for Lan because obviously 0-6 looks pretty bad right now. But yeah, this group is sick. We have 7 wins, 6 wins, 5 wins, 4 wins after the 3 rounds from those 2. And it could easily end up with Ganji being around 3-4, Lan being at 3. You just never know. So yeah, and I guess technically there's a chance Lan could still win the group. Someone want to figure that one out for me? That would be ridiculous. Wait, what? I wish I could click this And I could see what path would have to take place in order for that to happen. Andy would have to lose every game but one. Hera would have to get swept when Lan plays him. Yeah, I guess like Lan would have to win everything, and the people he'd be winning against are people that are obviously above him, and then he would need those people to lose to other people. What? I don't even know how that works. Anyways, I'm not going to waste more time on it.